Hey guys, Xlice here. Guide for Yangyang XL is out on my channel, so let's take a look at S0 to S6. This video might be out closer to release since we had some time to crank it out earlier, so I hope you guys enjoy. So all fights are recorded in TOA on media server with the same stats in the guide as you guys can see here. We're going to focus on one rotation damage since that's the easiest to compare across characters. The team I'm going to be running are going to be Chisa plus Rebecca as our supports, since this will be the most common team setup. Chisa is going to be our sustain, can be replaced by Shorekeeper, Verena, whoever you have. Rebecca is our default heavy attack buffer, where Xiangling does heavy attack damage. Rebecca can be replaced by anyone that buffs heavy attack, or Tefi, doesn't matter who you have. I just use Rebecca because she's free from the recent Cyberpunk collab, so everyone should have access to her. Yeah. Okay, so S0 team damage, we will steal from the main guide. Let's get into S1. So S1, casting her enhanced skills, they deal an additional havoc damage. This one stagnates enemies, and we get immunity to interruption. Really not going to see that much from S1, so I'm just going to get into it really quick. Okay, so this is S1. Just going to let the footage play here. So the numbers that we're going to focus on for Yangyang XL are going to be her ult and her heavy attacks. Her ultimate is going to be the easiest to track since it's going to be her biggest nuke. Her heavy attacks kind of have a lot of like a smaller number of attacks, but they still do get affected by our sequence nodes, so we do have to pay attention to them. We are going to have Rebecca just finish her rotation, and then I'm going to go through what we're looking at. Okay, so almost halfway forte here. Okay, now we can switch. So first thing, we're going to use this forte bar. At S1, we still have to generate one. There we go. So first heavy attack is going to be her big long one, and this is going to finalize at, you guys saw there, 183,000 damage. 183, 131. It's pretty good. And then her ultimate right afterwards to replenish her forte does 622.6k. So this is a little bit higher than usual. S0 is a 570k, and there's no difference. So this is going to be a little bit of a buff, like a buff discrepancy here. Just know that this damage is fairly consistent. Yeah. And then we use enhanced skill into her second enhanced heavy. This is her different one. She has two forms. This one's dealing 82k times 2 plus 110k, so total 260k, which is 270k, 275k, which is pretty nice. So you guys can see here, we're gonna finish the rotation here, yeah. So we finished rotation here. Switch back to Chisa. We are just over 50% HP. You'd expect roughly 50% at S1. Should be the same in S0. But yeah, that's where we're at. So overall, damage is still good, and Rebecca is our default support here. Okay, so S2. So this one I actually misread. This one says damage dealt by her enhanced heavy attacks, and one of her enhanced heavies has like this massive like continuation chain, which is the Havoc and Bloom damage that is included here, is increased by 100%. So in my main guide, I said that this was going to be a double damage increase. It's a 100% damage multiplier. That is actually incorrect, unfortunately. It's a lot weaker than that. So this is actually damage dealt, which is damage bonus. So the actual DPS increase is going to come out to is only about 30%. So we already have a bunch of damage bonus. And she also gets this, which is an overworld thing. But because this is an overworld thing, we also do get it on the very first rotation of any endgame content. So you're going to see her rotation change a little bit. I'll show you guys. Okay, so things we're going to pay attention to is that S2 only affects her heavy attack damage and also will affect her rotation. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this bit here. Okay, so let's pay attention to a couple things. First thing, when you instantly intro into S2 on Yangyang, you'll notice that she has a full forte. Her bottom bar is completely lit up, whereas in S1 and below, she only has one stack. So typically when you intro into her without S2, you will not have her heavy attack highlighted. Only her ultimate will be there. And usually for my rotation, you consume the forte, use her enhanced skill, and then do enhanced heavy. So what S2 allows you to do on the first rotation is it allows you to enhance heavy first, which allows you to skip the rotation. So we're gonna enhance heavy here. All right, so you guys saw there, it's really, really quick, but if you saw the damage, it is just about 108k times 2 plus 145k. At S1, it was 82k times 2 and plus 110k. So as you guys can see, it's not double damage. We only increased by about 35,000, so about 30%. This is expected now that you know her S2 is not damage multiplier. Kind of disappointing for me personally because I thought it was going to be double damage. Would have been nice, but alas, there it is. So after we do this heavy, now we can immediately go ultimate. And then enhanced skill, and then enhanced heavy. So this is her very long enhanced heavy here. So this is a problem that I noticed with S2. It's why I'm not really a fan of it. It changes her rotation. So you guys can see that we completed her rotation pretty fast, right? Alright, so this is in full speed. Let me just show you guys what it looks like. Boom, heavy, ultimate, enhanced skill, into heavy. It's very fast, right? Obviously, this has a long animation to it. Okay, so we would be finishing here on a 12-second rotation. Now, here's the problem with this. Our concerto energy is not full. So this means that even though we have a fast rotation, we cannot swap out yet. So I still have to hold the forte at the end here just to fill her forte bar. So the damage is pretty decent. You guys can see we're doing about 60% here, which is impactful. But the problem that I don't like is that when we go back to the team here for her. They're doing the same thing here, right? Probably gonna kill it here. Yeah, so we're gonna kill it here. So this is the problem that I noticed with S2 and why I'm not really the hugest fan of it. So the extra forte points that you get here, 2 points of Azure Plume, does not really help your rotation. It's strictly just for overworld farming. So what it ends up actually doing for your endgame rotation is it actually kind of fucks it up. It pushes your basic sequence to the very last part, which if you're like me, I built muscle memory on her old combo. So this combo, you'll swap out early and you'll be annoyed because you won't have outro skill ready. So this is just a small thing. If you do have S2, do note that the rotation changes slightly. Okay, you're gonna heavy first, then ult, then enhanced skill, then heavy, and then basic chain last. Basic chain until your forte is full. Until your concerto's full, and then swap out. So this is why I'm not personally a fan of it. First, I think I misread this. I thought it was gonna be double damage, but it's not. Second, her overworld kind of affects her endgame gameplay, but it doesn't benefit it. It's kind of annoying. Let's move on. Dash is my take on S2. It's okay, but it doesn't scream like super valuable to me. S3, 175% damage amp for her Resonance Lib. So we'll take a look at this. And then after that, also, we have Havoc Bane stacks from 6 to 9 if you have Chisa. But we have to check this. We do have to check this. So let's go in and check this real quick. We can fast forward here. We'll see Rebecca. Okay, so we see Havoc Bane stacks is 6 right now. So here we're gonna see, okay? You guys can see Havoc Bane is now 8 stacks. So it does stack with Chisa's ability. And there's 9. So 9 stacks of Havoc Bane now. Obviously, it doesn't go crazy. It's not like she gets more damage amped from it. It's capped at 66%. But this does still mean that you're doing slightly more damage because each Havoc Bane stacks does give you more bonuses, more damage dealt, right? But for Yangyang, it's like a very small. It's like about 1 to 3%. Still nice. Sorry, I just skipped it. You guys see the ult damage there? Boom. 1.05 mil. So just as expected, it's about a 80% to 100% damage DPS increase. Almost double damage. If not, you can basically say it is double damage. So it's gonna feel impactful. Definitely gonna feel impactful. So full rotation damage here. 249k there. And then finishing her forte and then switching. So about 60%, 65%, same thing. So yeah, this is going to be S3. Overall, pretty normal, I would say. Nothing crazy. You guys know when it comes to sequence nodes for Wuthering Waves, it's usually a buffing 2 parts of their kit, which is the highest damage parts. For her, it's her heavy, and then S3 is her ultimate. All right, so S4 and S5. S4 is going to be 20% attack. S5 is going to be a survivability one. So I'm just going to show you really quick. Just going to go through. I'm just going to play S5 for you guys. You guys can just see the extremely minor damage increase to the whole team. Overall, though, if you are at S3, if you are at S4 or higher, you're probably going to be at 6. There's really no reason to do less, I guess, is my main point. I bought, dude, I really hope that Lampy Lumen does not return because my oh my, I do not like attempting against this boss. It is very irritating. Okay, hold on. Damage. So ultimate damage is coming out at 1.125. So we are seeing, we went from 1.05 to 1.12, which is about a 6 to 7%, unironically, sorry. It's about a 6 to 7% a DPS increase. We'll take that. We are not complaining. We will take that. And then her big long heavy here is doing 265k cap. So at S5, this is basically what we're looking at. It's just about 65%. Finally, let's take a look at S6. S6 is 40% final damage to everything in YYXL's kit. So everything, okay? On top of that, she will get 5 extra instances of this special Havoc damage, and they are guaranteed to crit. They are also considered heavy attack damage, so they're going to be doing quite a bit. This combination should feel pretty juicy. Doesn't look like that much on paper, but it definitely does actually do something. All right, so let's take a look at some S6 footage. I'm going to skip forward here just so you guys can see a couple things, okay? First, we're going to take note of where the boss HP is. So I'm going to fast forward just until the Forte of Rebecca's almost full, right? Okay, so it takes just about 10% of the boss's HP before Yangyang XL's in. So now she's in. Her heavy is dealing quite a juicy amount, 167 times 2, plus 223. Into her ultimate. Ultimate is going to be doing 1.577 mil. Very nice. And now you guys can see that there's a lot of extra attacks happening here. Oh, just a shit ton of damage. You guys see that? Holy shit. You guys see that? Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? That, it was a lot of damage. So let me just replay really quick. So heavy into ult. Okay, heavy into ult is 1.57. That dealt about 40% of the boss's HP. Okay? But what comes after deals the rest. So this is her S6. Those extra 5 attacks plus her heavy attack 2 plus the Toon Break equals an instant kill there. So that was kind of juicy. That was kind of juicy, can't lie. So overall, it looks like S6 is more than just a 40% DPS increase. You can probably qualify this as like 80%. It's pretty massive. If we compare from how the team goes from S3, S5, we're going from boss HP from 50% to about 65% from S0 to S5. S6 completely destroys the boss HP. So we cover a lot of ground with S6. It seems like this is their trend, by the way. S1 is becoming just an immediate interruption. We already know this. S2 is a lot weaker than I thought it was. Just barely a little bit minor increase in damage. S3 is almost, it's kind of like the same as S2. I'm not gonna lie, they're kind of similar. S3, you will see it more impactfully because it's affecting one number. But S2, it's affecting a lot of small numbers, which adds up to about the same DPS increase as her S3. So both of them, I feel like you can say that they're responsible for maybe about 7% of the team DPS. If we're going from 50 to like 57-ish to 65 before we hit to S5, that's probably where we're at. It's more probably maybe like 5%. But yeah, so it's a pretty small increase, but that's what we're looking at for sequence notes. And then 20% attack is 7% DPS. And then S6, I would value at probably a double jump over S5. Like that's how big it is. So 40% here, which also affects all of these damages, right? So you guys saw her first heavy plus her ultimate deal about 40% of the boss HP. And then the remaining 50% of the boss HP was everything afterwards. So that is kind of juicy. Way more than I would expect. So yeah, I think that her S6 is good. It's strong. It's very basic, but I think it's very strong. I do anticipate though that Xlice might make her a little bit more juicier than expected, which I'm excited to try out. So when we are doing our Xlice showcase, I think oh yeah, shit. I'm gonna probably have to request for another account. I just realized that I'm probably gonna need to use this lady. But yeah. Okay, anyways, breakpoints. I think that it's kind of weird to say this, but I feel like breakpoints is only S6 because S2 and S3 are getting weaker and weaker. I feel like that's how it's looking like right now. Because S6 is a very obvious jump, where now S2 and S3 are very mediocre DPS increases for the amount of value that you spend into it. So this might just be a balancing for early game investment for front-loaded stuff. I mean, it's obviously way better than everything else, but you can basically consider that almost everything here does so little compared to S6. So yeah, that's just where we're at now. Anyways, guys, some small extra things. S2 could be considered a breakpoint if you care about the overworld farming here. It does make it a lot easier because she does get an extra heavy attack boost here. Because her Azure Plumes, her forte, is restored every single time she's out of combat, which is quite nice. So yeah. Anyways, guys, this video is not financial advice, of course, so spend responsibly. That is S0 to S6 on YYXL. We will return for Xlice down the line. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and sub. Let me know in the comments what you think about her, any testing differences that I had that you have input over. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.